You know, isn't it quite amazing, everybody, of what you would find on places like YouTube or Dailymotion or any video site out there? As you can see in the title here, I want to talk a little bit about about a cartoon series that we all grew up on. If we were 80's kids, that we all grew up on in the 80's. And the show I'm talking about, as you can see in the title, is the Get Along Gang. Now, some people may not like the Get Along Gang, and I respect their opinion about it. But some did like the Get Along Gang. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I watched the Get Along Gang when I was a kid. And when it got reran by PAX TV back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I even recorded some episodes onto a tape, which unfortunately I left in Kansas. Anyway, what was so special about this series? Well, the Get Along Gang was another attempt by American Greetings, who also created and were responsible for the Care Bears. It was American Greetings, another attempt by American Greetings to cash in on another successful card line, I guess you could say, of theirs. Now, unlike the Care Bears, though, the Care Bears, they started with, I guess they started with a movie, I'm not sure. No. Care Bears, they started with a special by Dick Animation. And then they had a movie animated by Nirvana Animation, the first one. But Get Along Gang went in a different direction, but similar in some ways. You see, not a lot of people, when it came to the Care Bears, were introduced to them until the movie came out in theaters. They didn't know about the two specials that came before it on television. They only knew about the movie, and that's how they were introduced to the characters. The Get Along Gang is the same way. But here's the thing. Nirvana Animation, who did the Care Bear movies, also did the animation for the Get Along Gang's 30-minute pilot. That's right. The Get Along Gang had a full-length 30-minute pilot on prime time, aired in prime time on CBS back in the 1980s, around, I believe, 84. I'm pretty sure of it. And Nirvana Animation, as we all know, when you compare their animation back then with the animation of Dick Entertainment back then, you definitely see a huge difference. You see a huge difference. True, both studios try to stay true to the designs of the characters, but you can definitely see that there's a huge difference. You can definitely see that. I mean, let me just put it this way. Nirvana, I think that's how you pronounce them. Nirvana's animation was more crisp, more feature-length like, and very smooth, and it was just enjoyable to look at. The Dick animation, though, it was okay. It was what people were used to, especially with something like the Get Along Gang. But it just was not as smooth and as crisp, if you will, as if you would have saw something out of Nirvana Animation. And that's something that always got me about Nirvana Animation. I don't know if they had some kind of deal with American Greetings or something, but it seems that when the Care Bear movies came out, it wouldn't be until about 86, 87 that Nirvana would take over animating the series, but Dick Entertainment would do the rest of the series even when the movie came out. But again, I'm never really sure what's really going on there. Then on the other hand, Nirvana, like I said, did the animation for the Get Along Gang special, but then Dick Entertainment did the animation for the Saturday morning series. You know, like I said, I didn't mind either way. You know, as a kid, I really didn't notice. And I don't think I don't think any of us as kids back in the 80s noticed the difference. All we knew is we were watching a good series. Now, as we have also noticed, though, throughout this past decade and even now, there have been many attempts, even throughout the 90s, to revive classic animated series from the 80s that really, you know, either left an impact, even if they only were for one season or for multiple seasons. You know, there's always been an attempt to revive them and try to make that same impact nowadays. And as we have seen with Care Bears and things like Care Bears and even My Little Pony and heck, you know, even my personal favorites, G.I. Joe and Transformers, there have been multiple attempts, some successful, some unsuccessful, in trying to reboost an interest in the product, in the franchise that they're trying to, you know, bring back or trying to reimagine. Or in this case, revive. So, where does Get Along Gang fall in this? Well, believe it or not, Get Along Gang did have an attempt at being revived. It's true. And I'll tell you why it's true. I was recently, just about 15 minutes ago, I was looking on my iPod here, and I was looking at the Get Along Gang 1984 pilot because I didn't know anything about it, and if I had, I'd forgotten about it. And as I scrolled down the related videos, the videos that were related to the video I was watching, I saw one that said New Get Along Gang pilot. And I looked at this and I thought to myself, New Get Along Gang? What does that mean? Well, apparently, by watching some of it, not only is it in CGI, not only was, apparently according to the credits, written and directed by Richard Rich, recognize the name? You should. But apparently, it takes place in the future. It does. It takes place in the future to the point that when you have, that basically you have the descendants, the great-great-grandchildren, I think, of the original Get Along Gang entering the caboose, seeing, kind of exploring the caboose, because as we see, the Get Along Gang caboose is crashed into a tree, or at least something like that, and it looks like it's in ruins, torn up, if you will. So anyway, all the descendants show up except for one. Now, we also get introduced to a new twist in this pilot. A hologram character, cat-like character I think she is, named M6. And apparently Zipper's great-great-grandson has an attraction. Zipper's great-great-grandson gets somewhat attracted to her right off the bat. Because when she says who she is, he says, and I'm impressed. And she winks at him. So, go figure. Anyway, I looked at this and I thought, it looks alright. But apparently American Greetings didn't think so. So the chance for the Get Along Gang to be brought back, even with a new Get Along Gang comprised of the great-great-grandchildren, that was axed. And I think I know why. You see, the Get Along, to me, I think what American Greetings looks at He said if they're going to revive a franchise of theirs from the past, you got to revive it by having some of the original characters, if not all the original characters. Even if you have to update them to modern times, so be it. Just have them. And I think maybe that's what kind of turned them off. The fact that, and it's my opinion, these are my opinions, it's not anything that I read. This is just my opinion. I think that's what turned them off about this new Get Along Gang CGI pilot. The fact that you had descendants and not the originals. And the fact that you had a hologram that looks like a young woman is basically older than them, and you have the great-great-grandson of Zipper attracted to this hologram of a woman. Anyway, like I said, I looked at this and I said, well, it looked okay, but like I said, American Greetings obviously didn't think so. And my opinions is the fact that they just didn't like the concept of it. Maybe it was the fact that they also had that female M6 character. That's her name, M6. I don't know. But you know, it's weird. It's weird that, you know, you have a show that had a lot of potential in the Get Along Gang. A show that had a lot of potential in the Get Along Gang, and yet, my friends, you want to revive some other stuff that doesn't need to be revived, and yet you don't want to revive that. But again, and I know I'm repeating myself here, but again, it's pretty obvious the reason they didn't, American Greetings nixed the idea. It was because it didn't involve the original characters. In fact, the only original character out of the original cast shows up at the end, and she's an old lady. She's holding a cane. And you know what character I'm talking about? Portia. You know, the little porcupine? Her. So, apparently, like I said, in my opinion, American Greetings didn't like the idea that this was the concept for a new Get Along Gang instead of sticking with the original. I mean, take a look at Care Bears. They stick with the name Care Bears, and they brought back all the characters, including some new ones, but they revised them, but they brought back the characters we all know. Updated them, revised them, whatever. And I think that's what they were hoping for when they said, hey, Richard Rich or whoever's in charge, if you want to revise the Get Along Gang again for a new series, go ahead. And I'm pretty sure when he revised it, it wasn't exactly what they were hoping for. Again, like I said earlier in the video, I think they were hoping he would update the characters to like modern times, like today, to where you would see something like, let's say, Dottie on an iPad or an iPod, or Woola being a little bit more vain but more stylish. You kind of get the idea? But that's basically what I'm going to say here on this video. I mean, I know it's probably a little out there and you probably wouldn't expect someone like me to talk about it. But again, I'm someone that grew up in the 80s. I was like 4 or 5 years old when the Get Along Gang came out, so I know what the series was. I watched it. So, again, I know it's a little unexpected for me to do a video like this talking about the Get Along Gang. But hey, you're talking to a guy that did a cartoon flashback on Jem and the Holograms. So, anyway, give me your thoughts down below. Tell me what you think about this whole Get Along Gang discussion video. What are your thoughts on what was supposed to be the proposed pilot? And you can find that here on YouTube, as well as find the original '84 pilot. Tell me what you guys think. Do you agree that American Greetings should have not nixed it or should have nixed it? Tell me what you guys think. Do you think maybe Richard Rich, who was in charge of it, should have just stuck with the original cast and just updated them? Tell me what you guys think. Share your memories of the Get Along Gang, if you will. Share your ideas of what you feel should be a revising of them. if there will be one. And I will talk to y'all later. The comments, like I said, are welcome. And take care.